Well, you know, we've got many talented gardeners here along coastal Delmarva, and if you are a gardener and you find yourself with sort of a surplus of produce, well, guess what? You can put it to great use and give back to the Food Bank of Delaware. We've got Chad Robinson, Vice President of External Affairs, joining us here on the Coastlife couch. Talk to us a little bit about this part of the Food Bank of Delaware. I think this is an incredible program to allow gardeners to, you know, do something useful with all that extra produce, because sometimes you just can't eat it all.
Absolutely. I mean, sure, that's, I think every gardener's, worst nightmare is, what do I do with all this extra? And so it's a great opportunity to think about what you have and just drop that off to the food bank. We're happy to take it, make sure it gets out to those folks that need it. It can be as little or as much as you have. Some people are like, oh, I only have a few tomatoes or an extra zucchini or a squash. That's fine. Just go ahead and drop it off at the food bank, and we can get it back out. Fresh produce is so needed by members of our community, so it's a great thing to have.
Is there any specific produce that you guys are always in need of? Is there anything that if somebody is, say, maybe beginning to plant their garden, they want to think about as a possible donation?
Really, anything works. Whatever you're thinking about planting in your garden, we tell folks all the time to think about the things that they enjoy. So if you enjoy it, then there are neighbors in your community that are food insecure that also enjoy those same things. So whatever it is that you're planting in your garden, just consider that as something that somebody else will enjoy too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly easy enough to tie, the food bank and canned goods together, because you do think non-perishables when you're donating food, and that is, of course, important. But I think one thing that brings us together is those fresh produce meals in the summertime, and there's there's nothing like it. So to be able to make sure that our neighbors and friends that are food insecure, because I think another really important fact with the food bank is you never know when it can be you.
That's so true. I mean, we know that so many folks right now in our community are struggling with food insecurity. Costs are high. Folks are thinking about how to make ends meet, how to put children in childcare, how to pay for the rent or the mortgage, how to pay for medicine. There's just so many things. And so it's something that maybe they're doing already that they enjoy, and it provides that opportunity to give back as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll have some cucumbers to send your way.
Oh boy.
And you were just talking about that ring on the outside where the most expensive stuff is. That's also where the healthiest stuff is.
Yep.
So when there's an opportunity to send some of that healthy food over to the food bank, it makes a real difference.
It really does, and I'm so glad you said that, because that is, Charlie, the thing that I think separates a lot is so often we want to make sure that we can get neighbors in need those food secure, those nutrient dense items. And so this is a great way to do that, because all of us are managing our budget, right?
Yes.
And so sometimes you might not be able to pick up those extra items to think about donating to the food bank. So this is a way that if you're planting that garden, you can do that. Last year, over 70 million pounds of we distributed last year across the state of Delaware. So when people think about what that looks like, it means our neighbors in need. It means people that we know right in our communities that need our help, and this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, I think sometimes food insecurity it's sort of a faceless association for a lot of us, but I think a lot of times it's somebody that it's somebody that your kids go to school with. I know a lot of times, especially this time of year, a lot of kids struggle with food insecurity because school is where they get their meals.
That's right. So many folks right now are, the kids are home for the summer. They're thinking about how to have those few extra dollars that they can provide for their kids when they're not in school. It's impossible in a state our size that we don't know who these Delawareans are. 1 in 8 Delawareans right now struggling with food insecurity. We know these people. Yeah. They are our neighbors. They are our friends. And so if we think about it in those terms, that we can help out by doing just that little bit extra, by planting that extra row, by taking that yield, that extra harvest that we get from our garden. If we can think about it in just small steps like that, every step is helping us together to combat food insecurity. Doesn't have to be a huge donation.
I love it.
So if somebody has some fresh produce, or even if they just have any food that they have to donate, where can they go? How can they get involved? How can they make a difference?
Sure. So we certainly have our facility up in Milford where folks can drop food off directly. Just remember, when you're thinking about that coming out of the garden, don't put it in a trash bag or something like that. A lot of folks think about, how can I get it to you? Just put it in a box or a little bin or whatever. We're happy to give that back to you once you drop it off. If you're thinking about, what does that look like? Maybe I can't make it to Milford. Maybe I live in, southern Sussex County. Just give us a ring. Maybe we can connect you with a partner that's in the community that you can drop it off right in your local community so that it's close by. We want to make sure that, with refrigeration and all those things.
Yeah.
Not all our partners have those opportunities, so we want to get you to the right place to drop it off. But our facility in Milford is always a definite place they can do that.
So either get to
Fantastic.
that facility in Milford or call to set something up
Yeah.
and make sure that that food gets where it's going under the right circumstances.
Absolutely, yep. And if
Easy
folks
peasy.
are always in need, we're reminding folks all the time, check out our website, www.fbd.org. They'll find all of the resources there about how they can get involved and help, but also if they're in need of assistance, they can find resources there to get the help they need.
Fantastic. Well, Chad Robinson with the Food Bank of Delaware, thank you as always for not only joining us on the Coastlife couch, but for all that you do to take care of our community.
Well, thank you so much. The couch is always a comfy spot, so I'm happy to come back.
Yes, we love it. We do have some more Coastlife to get to. We're going to be doing a little bit more chatting when we get back.